an amazing project. The Spearhead group is sponsoring Project Earth, and we had this initiative which is very close to our core values. Some of our core values as a company are sustainability, doing the right thing, and going an extra mile. And Project Earth embraces those three principles really, really well. We're very lucky to have our headquarters so close to Burlington Island, which is how we discovered this place and how this whole idea came up. And I'm just so happy to be part of it. It's an amazing opportunity to give back, to do something for nature, and it's also a great educational opportunity. It's mainly about plastic pollution and about the impact of how plastics affect our environment, both in the large scale and when they turn into microplastics. And that's one aspect of plastic pollution that we don't talk enough about because we don't see it. This year has been a trial for Project Earth. We've been going there ourselves, just like small groups of friends, testing everything from protection equipment, the logistics, how we get there. And it's just so great to have the opportunity of doing this.
The island, because it's an international waterway, it has veins that go all down to the Atlantic Ocean. Burlington Island, it does act as a filter. Anything coming from north all the way up to Delaware Water Gap filters down, and because of the bend in the river, the shoreline is just catching it. The Burlington Island is in the Delaware River where it's still tidal, so you have high tide and low tide. It could vary from 6 to 8 feet. So there's some pockets on the island there's a little dip, and when it's high tide, everything floods in there, and low tide, it just catches it all. As consumers, we already know the first part of it. We take the water bottle, we take the soda bottle, we drink it, and we think we throw it out, but a lot of times this ends up in our waterways. There's all different reasons. It could fly off a truck, or maybe you put it in the wrong bin, or whatever it is. But after that part, yes, it's very important for people to be educated about what is it to say recycling, and that's a whole story in and of itself, because a lot of municipalities are broken in their recycling capabilities. So we purposely chose a specific recycling group that we feel confident they're doing the right thing.
Hi, I'm Joe Abate. I'm president of the Board of Island Managers this year, and I'm excited that you're going to see the island. Many people haven't had that chance, and we've been very blessed with a company called Spearhead with Project Earth, who have joined with us to try to make things better. And with their help, very few hands have the opportunity to turn the pages of history. But we're going to turn that page. And when you get there, it's going to be embedded in your mind when you see that 100-acre lake, when you get the opportunity to hear and to feel what Burlington Island is all about.
So we're here with Angie Wenger talking about Burlington Island and about Project Earth. And I would love to talk about what we were talking earlier, which is your opinion about the island and the work on the island and the great educational opportunity that bringing people to the island can be.
Burlington Island is a natural resource. It's a gem, and it's one of the best places that you can learn about conservation and environmental stewardship of both land and water. And so the work that Project Earth is focused on fits really nicely with educational opportunity for students and getting them out onto the island and really putting the idea of environmentalism and conservation into action by engaging on trails, learning a little bit more about the ecology, but also becoming stewards of the land and the water by doing cleanups or other kinds of programs and really connecting with nature in a way that can't really be done in too many places, and it's right here in Burlington City.
That is a wonderful educational place.
Exactly.
And it needs to be cleaned up, and it needs to be a place where people can learn about the river tides, the animals, the birds that are there, that they wouldn't find in any other places, and why they live there. So I'm excited that maybe I'm praying that the right thing has finally come along after 50-some years that would do the best for that island and do the best for the people in the neighborhood and people who have never come to Burlington. It would be a draw for them to come here.
The island separated into two sections because It was originally given to the city by a grant in 1682. So they went to the legislature to get permission. The legislature gave them the charter of 1852, which the board is now run by. And they said that they could sell the island, but it had to go through referendum. The people of Burlington had to vote on it. They took a vote. The people voted to sell the island, but the board decided to sell only half the island. And they put a minimum bid of $20,000. There was only one bidder, and it was $20,100, and that was by Elias Boudneau's great grandson. It went through different hands until eventually it wound up in the hands of a Warner company, which was a gravel company. This company was taking the island away bit by bit. And they were taking the gravel out and selling it. And they created a 100-acre hole in the middle of the island in which the water came from the river.
Now, the aquifer.
And the aquifers.
It comes up
from the aquifers and the river. So when the city council realized that they were going to have no island, just a hole where it was, they passed a ordinance stating you couldn't take gravel out of the city of Burlington. This made it useless to the Warner Company, and so Warner Company made a deal with the city. The city had them close off the hole, and they and they sold it back, but they sold it back to city council for $1. A nice buy. I wish I had been there. And the city council has had control of it since then.
Our goal in 2023 is to really launch it. The goal there is to have a weekly cleanup process. That's what we're doing today. Is we're collecting names for people that want to volunteer in the future. Also to bring education and attention to it. But the future in 2023, we're looking to bring people on a weekly basis, have regular staff that actually is trained in first aid and everything else, and brings people out to the island, does cleanup for an hour or so. We're not looking for fundraising, we're actually just looking for volunteers. So the whole concept here is to clean up the shoreline of Burlington Island and educate people about the dangers and the bad things about single-use plastic. Single-use plastic gets into the major waterway here, the international waterway, and reaches down to the ocean. The microplastics actually are really bad. We actually all have microplastics in our bodies as a result of single-use plastic. Our goal is to get the single-use plastic out of the international waterways and get it back into the recycling stream. So what we do is we're looking for volunteers to come help us clean. So there's a free ride out to the island. It's a beautiful island. And what they do is spend an hour or two cleaning up the island. We collect the plastics. We bring it to a recycling center where it gets back into the recycling and gets out of our oceans, gets out of our bellies, and we're able to bring nature back to its original form. Part of the process is also education. So we'll be bringing people from the island cleanup and give them a break afterwards and bring them onto the island, actually educate them. So we'll have all different speakers that will actually come and talk about what it means to be a consumer in this world and use single-use plastic and the choices that you can make different from what we're doing now. It's crazy when you think about the fact that we buy, say, a water bottle that's been produced for, all the process of petroleum and everything to get that water bottle into your hands, and maybe you have it for 5 minutes, and then it ends up on the oceans, the shorelines, and it lasts for decades. This year, 2022, is season 1 of Spearhead Project Earth. Really what we're trying to do is do trial runs to understand the waterways, because the way we go is with pontoons. That trash then goes to the recycling center, and then we bring those folks onto the island and educate them about single-use plastic and also about the history of the island. One of the goals too is to bring groups out to the island. So think of like the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, churches, community groups, also businesses. So Spearhead, the supporter of Spearhead Project Earth, has a lot of major international clients that actually share the same core values on sustainability and single-use plastic. So we're looking to create education for some of those folks as well. So bring major corporations to the island, get their hands dirty a little bit, see what it's like, not just seeing it in a boardroom or hearing it. There's something about physically picking up plastic and seeing how quickly you can fill a bag with plastic and see that you haven't made a dent in the shoreline is something very humbling about that. Spearhead Project Earth is not a fundraising group. We're being supported 100% by the Spearhead group. So we're not looking for fundraising, we're actually just looking for volunteers and people that are open to being educated. We're happy to bring them to the island if they're not capable of cleaning up, but they're willing to come to the island, just experience the beauty of the island and be educated on the island. There's also that opportunity too. We are trying to get people to physically help us clean and trade of the trip to the beautiful island. But if someone physically is not able to do that, we're able to bring people on just for the education. So the basic itinerary is clean up the shoreline for an hour or two, go to the main part of the island, get educated on that, and to be fed lunch and food. So there's a little bit of a reward for that. So yeah, bringing people through that cycle and showing them how the process is actually, I think, also eye-opening. I think it's a great concept. The real key is to try to get ourselves away from the single-use plastic. There's so many different options. Aluminum is actually one of the most recyclable materials in the world. Second to that is glass. Aluminum, though, it can be recycled by all different centers. Glass manufacturers don't always want to take glass back because it might have things in it that they don't want to affect the clarity of their glass. So yeah, there's simple things like don't use plastic.
One of the things that Project Earth does is help with the sustainability of the environment. And then as that relates to Burlington Island just over here, Burlington Island acts like a filter or a net, and so the plastic bottles in particular flow down and then they get caught over here and they impact the wildlife and the environment here on Burlington Island. So we're in the process of putting together and orchestrating numerous cleanups, sustainable cleanups, so it's just not a one-off. This is sustainable. We're looking to do it, on a very regular basis because the environment needs regular monitoring and regular service. The Board of Island Managers has a charter to support the educational system here in Burlington City. And I think the more that people participate, they're going to tell their friends, and so it's going to be an outpouring or an overflowing into the community and into the lives of so many different people of the importance of taking care of our plastics in particular. Our goals are lining up quite nicely so that I'm sure it's going to be a success, and I'm sure we're going to make a tremendous impact locally and across the planet.
And anyone who is able to walk on an uneven terrain and hold a clamp to collect rubbish is welcome to volunteer with us. Really, we're looking for people who care about doing something and helping us clean this and have the experience firsthand of seeing how we can each contribute and make a difference. It's primarily human education, and it's too early stages now, but we have approached a few institutions who are into cleanups, into ocean conservation, into plastic education to see if we can join efforts with them. Seeing so many people here that are excited about our project and about what we are doing.